is Lindsay Rosenboom, and today I'm going to present to you my informative speech on premature infants. The purpose of my speech is to inform my audience about the risks of infants being born prematurely and their chance of survival. These are my three audiences. Have you ever spent a day in the NICU? Well, premature babies spend many days, anywhere from 65 to 130 days in the neonatal intensive care unit, where they receive precise care, meeting their needs from the beginning. Their main goal is to limit stress to the infant and provide the basic needs and proper growth for development. Premature infants, also known as preemies, come into the world earlier than full-term infants. Full-term infants are carried up to 37 to 42 weeks, and premature infants are born before 37 weeks. A preterm delivery can be caused by many things, one of which being health conditions of the mother's, lifestyle choices during pregnancy, such as poor nutrition, or structural abnormalities or overstretching of the uterus. This can be caused by carrying more than one fetus, such as twins or multiples. This is more common in women younger than 19 or women older than 40. Today, my board displays the survival of premature babies. For example, I have a chart here showing from 23 weeks to 34 weeks the baby's chance of survival. Each week the baby is spent in the womb, the survival rate increases greatly. Once the baby reaches 32 to 33 weeks, they have a 95% chance of surviving. According to research done on the Children's Health and Development Information, which I obtained from kidshealth.org, states that 90% of premature babies who weigh 800 grams, which is a little less than 2 pounds, survive. Those who weigh more than 500 grams, which is a little less than 1 pound, have a 60% chance of surviving. The March of Dimes website provided me with the weeks of baby's gestation here. At 23 weeks, it shows the baby is far along enough to have a chance of surviving outside the womb because all of its internal organs are in place. Although their organs are in place, they still have a risk for complications. At 24 weeks, the mom is gaining weight, which is contributing to the baby's weight gain. Its face is formed, its eyes and ears are in place, and its eyelashes and fingernails are growing. At 26 weeks, the baby's fine-tuning is taking place in the lungs and the brain. At 28 weeks, each week in the womb increases the baby's survival rate. The skeleton and muscles are maturing quickly. At 30 weeks, the baby can turn its head side to side, and it moves into the laboring position with the baby's head down and its rump upwards. After 34 weeks, the baby has a great chance of surviving. Over here, I'm going to talk about the 3 basic needs in the NICU. The first one being warmth. Oftentimes, babies are swaddled, which is wrapped in tight, warm blankets. This often is not enough alone to keep the baby at the right temperature. Premature infants require very specific temperature monitoring for growth. Radiant warmers are often used, which are open to air. They allow frequent medical staff to take care of the baby and have a temperature probe on the baby's skin monitoring their temperature, which adjusts the heat itself. An incubator is an enclosed plastic unit which has 2 holes for the mother's hands, and it also is good in preventing infection getting to the baby. The next important basic need is nutrition. Breast milk is usually the best. It has most protein, which helps in fight infection. Oftentimes the babies cannot drink from the breast or a bottle until 32 to 34 weeks, so a nasogastric tube is used. A nasogastric tube is passed from the baby's nose into their stomach, providing nutrition. A lot of times they add fortifiers, which allow the preemies to get extra minerals and vitamins required for infants instead of full-term infants. And the third important factor is growth. Babies are measured daily in weight by grams and monitored by a pediatrician. And the third part is the common complications of premature infants. One of the very common complications is hyperbilirubinemia, which is high levels of bilirubin which are compounds that result from the breakdown of food. This causes development of jaundice, which is a yellow discoloration in the baby's skin and sometimes in the whites of their eyes. This affects 80% of infants. The treatment of hyperbilirubinemia consists of placing the baby under Billy lights or in Billy blankets, which helps eliminate the bilirubin. If the bilirubin builds up too much, it can cause dangerous levels causing brain damage. Another common complication in premature infants is apnea, where the baby stops breathing and the heart rate decreases. This is caused by the immaturity in the area of the brain that controls the drive to breathe. This is common in infants born at 30 weeks or sooner, and the treatment consists of caffeine usually given through the IV, sometimes an umbilical IV, or they can provide a special nasal device that allows a steady flow of oxygen into the airways. Another respiratory illness is respiratory distress syndrome, where infants' lungs don't produce enough surfactant. Surfactant allows the inner surface of the lungs to expand properly when the infant exchanges from the womb to after giving birth. Most premature babies who lack surfactant require a breathing machine or a ventilator for a short time after their birth. Low blood pressure is also common after delivery. It's treated with the replacement of fluids or medication. Anemia is a lack of red blood cells. Infant red blood cells have a shorter lifespan than adult red blood cells. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is patent ductus arteriosus. The information obtained on this was from the Medline Plus Medical Encyclopedia. Patent ductus arteriosus is also known as PDA. It is a blood vessel that allows the blood to bypass the lungs because the oxygen in the blood comes from the mother and not from breathing air. In full-term infants, the PDA closes shortly after birth, but in premature infants, it often stays open. This can be treated in a couple of ways, one being medication, indomethacin or ibuprofen, which is successful in 80% of cases, or if that doesn't work, they usually have to do surgery where they place a clamp to close the PDA. Down here, I have a picture that shows how small a premature infant's feet can be in compared to an adult person's hands. As we have learned, a premature infant requires significant care in many areas to obtain the quality of life a full-term infant is born with. I have focused on the survivability, basic needs, and common complications of premature infants. For the families of these infants, it can be very difficult to get through the roller coaster of emotions experienced in a NICU. It is very important for them to keep themselves well rested and emotionally stable. I hope you've learned something from my infant speech today, and these are my audience.